All right, thank you all for coming to Making the Most of Global Accessibility Awareness Day, also known as GAAD. My name is Joseph Kocher, and I am a Senior Project Manager here at DQ, who also serves as the product owner for our Accessibility Awareness Lab.
My name is Patrick Sturdivant. I'm the Vice President and Principal Strategy Consultant with DQ Systems. I serve as the Product Manager for the Awareness Lab.
Amazing. So the purpose of today's presentation is first, happy GAAD. GAAD stands for, as I mentioned, Global Accessibility Awareness Day. GAAD takes place the third Thursday of May in each year. In this case, GAAD will be taking place on May 21st, 2026. It was started in 2011 by Joe Devon and Jennison Assumption. It's a global holiday promoting digital accessibility awareness and equality. And you can visit the community page for GAAD at https://accessibility.day. Now, what does GAAD mean for you? How often does accessibility take center stage within your organization? Do not miss this stellar opportunity. That opportunity being getting buy-in and budget from your C-suite in order to get additional buy-in and support for accessibility initiatives within your organization. It's also an opportunity to help you find additional advocates, champions, and collaborators, allowing you to reach across business units to find fellow champions and spread the word of digital accessibility and equality. It also allows you to shine a light on success within the organization, especially within your digital accessibility initiatives, including announcing accessibility feature releases, sharing reporting, and promoting any positive changes in process, culture, results, issue volume, number of issues resolved, etc. Anything to show that you and your organization are moving the needle towards a more digital, equitable experience. To commemorate GAAD each May, we do recommend identifying some key activities in order to help achieve your accessibility goals surrounding GAAD. We certainly recommend attending or referring colleagues to digital accessibility trainings or webinars, such as the one you're experiencing today. Holding a lunch and learn internally at your organization to highlight some of the key initiatives and progress your organization has been making on the front of digital accessibility. Getting hands-on with assistive technologies within the organization, and also engaging and meeting with colleagues who have disabilities to get that firsthand account and insights into what their day-to-day is like from an accessibility experience. And what better way to have such engagement and to bring all this together better than hosting an awareness lab. Now, what is the Awareness Lab, you may be asking? The Awareness Lab is an on-site interactive learning experience, which will encompass a number of stations highlighting different accessibility assistive technologies and accessibility advances in technology to give you and your organization a more in-depth experience and understanding of what it is like to not only have a disability and be working in the technology space with a disability, but also will allow you to gain awareness around what other disabilities are out there, learn from people with firsthand experience living with a disability, and through the interactive activities with assistive technologies and related products, it'll allow your teams to learn how people with disabilities use websites, experience the challenges with inaccessible technologies, and also gain that additional insight you may not get otherwise by, again, having that shared live experience through the Awareness Lab. I alluded to several Awareness Lab stations as being a key cornerstone of the Accessibility Awareness Lab. So in addition to the registration station, which is where an organization will introduce the attendees to the lab, hand out materials, swag, whether it's your organization's branded swag or the DQ provided swag. We also have the actual stations where individuals within an organization will go through, experience each one. That includes our cognitive station, deaf and hard of hearing, low vision and blindness, innovative solutions, motor disability, mobile accessibility, braille, artificial intelligence, and lastly, our accessibility stories. Now, what are the key benefits for hosting an awareness lab? In this case, the awareness lab will help generate overall accessibility awareness and bring people of all roles and backgrounds together to learn and experience the different technologies and stations that the awareness lab brings. It'll help establish common understanding, spark innovative thought and culture change, and also build comfort interacting with customers with disabilities. Personally, my first foray in working within the digital accessibility space was also my first foray into working with individuals with disabilities, and has certainly been an extremely worthwhile and life-changing experience. And then lastly, forming connections between the ask, which is typically a WCAG requirement, and then the people that it benefits. I want to highlight two individuals from AT&T who were the originators of the Awareness Lab. So here at DQ, Glenda Sims, who is the Chief Information Accessibility Officer here at DQ, was working closely with Crystal Baker and Aaron Banger at AT&T. They were sharing ideas and experiences of how to help evangelize digital accessibility. And Crystal and Aaron were describing what their version of the Awareness Lab experience was, and Glenda, got their permission to adopt it and take it forward here at DQ. And of course, they've been, a guiding light for DQ for what has now become our Awareness Lab offering. So certainly want to make sure that we are paying homage to the originators of the Awareness Lab, given how much they have impacted so many lives of those who've gone through the Awareness Lab here at DQ. Now, when to conduct the lab, aside from GAAD, it is a useful experience all year long. In addition to GAAD, as I mentioned, it can also align with other accessibility-related celebration days or holidays, including the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act going into law, as well as NDEAM. It's also a great additive or essential pillar to any large corporate events, such as technology summits or vendor conferences, to highlight some of what the great work DQ does, and also in conjunction with the organization hosting to highlight some of the progress that has been made on a digital accessibility front. And kind of as I mentioned, the Awareness Lab is an amazing way to bring people from all backgrounds together to learn. It gives senior leadership who may not have as much exposure to the digital accessibility initiatives that they're hosting, gives them that experience and exposure to understand fully what has been transpiring on the ground, and also helping management connect the dots in terms of what their teams have been performing. It also allows employees with no disabilities understand the why digital accessibility is important when shipping out code and putting products out into the marketplace. It also gives the opportunity for employees who have disabilities the forum and the opportunity to learn from one another. It is definitely not for just employees within the technology space. This is certainly an incredible experience for all across all functional areas: finance, accounting, marketing, human resources, etc. Where to conduct the lab? Location, location, location. As they say in real estate, that concept also transpires to where to host an awareness lab. You want to make sure you're hosting your awareness lab in a space large enough for everyone coming to attend, to collaborate, to freely move through the stations without issue, to be able to accommodate all 9+ stations in the lab, and ensure that it's a comfortable and free moving experience for all. You also want to make sure that the space is not only easy to find, dedicated, but you want to also make sure to ensure that the lighting, due to the technology and the experiences within the lab, to make sure that the lighting and background noises are taken into account when determining where to have the awareness lab. You want to make sure that there are tables and chairs at each station to accommodate all the technology and the guests that will be attending the lab, to, again, be comfortable and be able to go through the lab experience and make sure that they have enough space and grace to move around and ensure they're getting that full experience. We do recommend avoiding high top tables just for accessibility related purposes. making sure that all of the tables and chairs are put in a logical order so that there's some rhyme or reason to the awareness lab station, and ensuring that there's enough signage and marketing materials around the space leading up to the lab and the lab itself to ensure that the guests know where to go to get to the lab, and make sure that they are aware of the different stations and experiences within the lab itself. In addition to location, when it comes to the location of the lab, communicate is the key cornerstone to ensuring that the lab is a success. We do recommend that the organizations partnering with DQ have a robust communication plan ahead of the lab itself, just so, again, if you don't know, you don't go. If making sure that communications at least a month out, a week out, and 1 day out are distributed among different formats for your employees and other stakeholders, just so they're aware of the lab. We understand your day-to-days can be extremely busy, and it's easy to, an extra email may just go into the trash bin without being read. We want to make sure, in addition to email communication, bulletin boards, leadership messaging, and physical signage, especially since return to office is a more common practice these days, ensuring that there's enough signage and awareness for the awareness lab posted among the different areas of your corporate campus or your corporate building is so, again, to foster engagement and attendance for the awareness lab. One option, and something we strongly recommend when engaging with leadership for the awareness lab, is to give them early access to the lab itself. Maybe give them like an early sneak peek into the awareness lab, maybe an hour before the actual lab takes place, so they have the space and the attention from the DQ and client volunteers to go through the lab themselves, really immerse themselves in the different stations, and have the ability to ask questions to the volunteers and the DQ staff on site, so they have a full understanding and access to the lab itself, and make it as worthwhile of an experience for them as possible. Lastly, the third key component of the awareness lab is the people. Having it in a spacious, bright location is one thing. Making sure that the teams and employees at the organization are aware of it is another thing. But the people are the key to the success, specifically the volunteers who make it happen. The central accessibility team is core to organizing and contracting for the event, working through the logistics, and making sure that, again, a comprehensive marketing plan for advertising the awareness lab occurs. But the volunteers who are on the ground working on the stations with the awareness lab attendees is the most vital part to the overall experience of the lab. We also provide very robust documentation for the operators and attendees, and we also ensure that we provide training to the volunteers both virtually and in person once we're on site for the lab, to ensure that everyone's comfortable with their station, they're able to ask questions, and they're a valuable resource for the awareness lab attendees on site. We are very flexible with how you schedule coverage for the volunteers, being that we are cognizant that it is, it's a large time commitment, an entire work day. Sometimes we do awareness labs across 2 work days. We want to make sure that we're as flexible as possible with the scheduling of the awareness lab and allowing the volunteers to come and go as they please, ensuring that there's coverage across all of the different tables. The next portion, I'm going to kick it over to my colleague Patrick to talk about the sizing of the awareness lab and some additional excellent topics related to the lab itself and GAAD.
Thanks, Joe. The wonderful thing about the lab is that it's very adaptable. It's very flexible. When we do a full lab, it's 9 stations plus the registration, so it's 10 tables. We usually like to have 6-foot-long banquet tables, 10 of those, plus chairs, and that really requires a good bit amount of space, usually an area that's 700 to 900 square feet. But if you don't have that much space, the great thing is it's flexible. Like I said, we can scale it down to, let's say, 4 tables or 2 tables. We won't have as many experiences, but it is flexible. You can pick and choose what you think would be more important if you're limited in space. If you have even more space, you may want to expand the lab and bring in other partners in your organization. Maybe your employee resource group may want to partner with you. Maybe you want to showcase some of your technological advancements related to accessibility. So I've seen it grow as sometimes as many as 12 or 13 tables. The other thing you can think about is when we talk about sizing is, do you want this to be potentially a permanent solution in a permanent space? So there are a lot of options when it comes to spacing. I have worked with a few clients that are working on what we call lab in a bag, where they take 2 to 3 key exercises or experiences that can fit into a travel bag, and they can travel with them. A lot of large organizations have multiple sites, and when DQ brings in a lab, we have to actually ship a big crate in. Sometimes that's not an option depending on what meets your needs, and you can create the lab that meets your needs. So given that we have lots of options for size, we're going to move to our next slide. Let's talk about the lab itself. Now, we're going to get into, in a few minutes, our latest iteration of the lab, just to give you a quick look forward in this presentation to the DQ do-it-yourself lab, where you can actually have more flexibility, and I'm going to talk about that. But given that opportunity where you can do a lab on your own, I'm trying to give you a little wisdom on what my experiences have been maintaining the lab. One of the things you want to do when you do a lab, whether you're having DQ do it for you or you're doing it, is get feedback. Talk to people going through the lab. Ask them what they liked, what didn't work, what did they not understand, what did they learn. Lessons learned are really important. Always look for new opportunities to bring new items into the lab. Recently, we brought in Legos because they're becoming accessible. And we don't just show technology only, we show all kinds of innovative solutions, as well as a healthy dose of assistive technology, to show how people with disabilities can do things maybe just differently. So get feedback, maintain your systems. You're going to have to keep patching, as you know, OS updates. We intentionally sometimes don't put a laptop or two on the Wi-Fi network to keep it stable, so that you're not dealing with always the latest patch from your operating system, and you know it's stable depending on whether or not you're going to be using this for a good while. There's advantages and disadvantages to patching and updating. The most important thing is just to be aware. So given that, let's move to our next. Oh, one last thing. Well, I kind of mentioned it on Legos. Low tech. Remember, although assistive technology and digital accessibility are all really high-tech solutions, don't be scared to show a few items that are low tech to get people thinking. Now, when it comes to the lab, the DQ lab, we have 3 options that we can now present to you. In the past, we only had 1 option. And we still have that option. It's a great option. It's called the Deque-managed Accessibility Awareness Lab. That's where you pay DQ to send the lab in a large crate. We pay the shipping. We send 2 people from DQ to perform and put on the lab with your assistants and your volunteers. That is a fixed price, and you can get more information about that from DQ. That is what we've been offering for the past 6 or 7 years. The next option is the DIY option, which is our 3rd option. Our 2nd option is the consultation option. I'm going to flip to this next slide. We kind of cover the Deque-managed, which is DQ full-blown. We'll go to the next slide. Consultation. This means that you're either wanting to build out your own lab with us as consultants to help you solve problems troubleshoot, plan. We're not going to be on site. We will be available by the hour virtually to help you with the project. Which also lends itself into our third option on our next slide, which is the DIY option. Now, this DIY option you can actually download, and we're going to talk a little bit more detail on what all it offers. You can download all the digital files and do it all yourself. You can do it yourself, by yourself, or like I said, the second option, you can actually bring us in to be your consultants and help you as you build out or perform this event. So the DIY basically gives you a large zip file with a bunch of digital files in it, which we're going to cover. So we're going to provide you all the digital content that you would use to print out all the sheets that you're going to put on your tables to explain the experiences. You're going to get a Awareness Lab guide document. The most important thing, the shopping list. If you've ever experienced one of our labs and you've seen all the products or you wonder what it's going to take to put one of these on, having a shopping list with a lot of URLs that point you to the place we get the equipment and the products is invaluable, and that comes with this, so the shopping list. If you're going to do the DIY, you're going to provide the hardware, you're going to provide the software and the special products. You decide whether you want to have it as a fixed location in a room that you bring available on demand whenever you want, or whether you're going to pack it up in a crate like we do and ship it location to location. That's up to you to decide. You're in charge of the show with the DIY kit. The wonderful thing about it is if you download the kit and you start using it, you can learn from it, you can change it, you can modify it, you can expand it, you can take our ideas and brand it your way if you want. If you want to download the kit, it's easy as deque.com/lab. Now, if we move to our next slide, I'm just going to go into a teeny bit more detail what you're going to get in this zip file. All the print files you're going to need, both in standard US and A4 European formats. It's the print files to build the signs. If you use the stamp method for passport, we provide icons files that you can use to make your stamps. The tabletop materials the guests see, the operator cards that the volunteers use, all the files that you need for your laptops to run the different experiences that require a laptop, the actual passport file, which is the document that you get when you sign up at the registration table. You're handed this document that kind of guides you around the experience. We'll give you a sample room layout so you can kind of see how we normally lay out the room. It's always customizable. A flyer, sample flyer you can use to advertise your event. So all those files are bundled into the zip file that you can download when you hit that URL. So I know that's a lot of information. I recommend if you want to learn more, download the zip file, start with the lab guide book, and go from there. If it's something that you think you want us to just run all for you, reach out to DQ. We'll help you with that. If you want some assistance, consultation only, we're happy to do that too. I hope you got a lot out of this Global Accessibility Awareness Day opportunity. Every year is a new year to do something different and exciting, and we're hoping that this idea, this concept of an awareness lab can suit that today for an awareness lab or GAAD or for any other event today or in the future.
And once again, visit deque.com/lab for more information regarding the Awareness Lab. Thank you all for your time and enjoy GAAD.